Okay, at least here it works. So that's a classic. I have to open another one. Give me a second, please. To inform the people waiting in the other stream, as usual. Wait a second. This one. Yay. 1 second, 1 second. Hello, hello. Thank you all for being here, as always. Let me quickly remove the other one. Whoop. One second. All right, excellent. So thank you all for being here. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend so far. So as the title says, YouTube, I wanted to go live, but YouTube didn't let me because I don't know. I know. So I tried to use another app. I set up the stream in YouTube, then I tried to use another app to use that stream so that I can have some elements on the tree on the on the screen. And then I started it in this separate application. It said it's live, but apparently it wasn't because YouTube still showed waiting and nobody was reacting. So I was like, okay. Then closed the app, went to YouTube, wanted to go live, but didn't let me. So it blocked the stream or something. So because on YouTube, you can only use a live stream once and then you have to make a new one. And that's why the title now is YouTube doesn't allow me to go live, but I do it anyway. So thank you all for coming here, even though the other one didn't work. And I hope the other people will be here soon. Now, yes, that's that. Yesterday, I went to the station, to the Tourist Information Center, and I got a lot of flyers and whatnot, brochures. And I hope I find a couple of new things I don't know about yet, and to plan a couple of videos. But the actual reason I went to the station is this one here. Can you see that? It's I don't know if you can read it. Jizokuyama is part of Nagano City, not too far. It's a mountain. It's not too high of a mountain, so I should be able to climb it while filming a lot. And I knew this mountain exists, and there are some interesting things, but I didn't know how to write it, how to spell it in Japanese, and I didn't know if it was good enough for a video. But I knew there's this flyer in the information center at the station, so I went there and got it, and I still don't know if it's good enough for a video. So there are a couple of things there. Essentially, two different routes, a couple of routes, if you can see that, maybe, yeah, it's in focus. And so a couple of interesting things, a lot of ruins and like left behinds, remains, remnants of a zoo, of an amusement park, of a bell. I don't know what's visible of that, what's remaining, of a cable car, and of a ski resort. So there was like a tourist area, and then they built a new road like 10 years after constructing all this, and then everybody left. And the second route has a fish pond remains, also from that area, a keyhole-shaped burial mound, then a hill-shaped burial mound, and the ruins of a, can you say castle, fortification or something like that. However, these ruins, I Googled it. It's not interesting enough for video. It's just forest now. So it's very, very non-existing ruins. So I'm not sure if it's good enough for video or not. We'll see. And if I don't go there, then probably I go to one of the cities, towns in the area. And that may be the next video. And with all that being said, I hope you're having a great weekend so far, or had a great week. For me, it was okay. A little bit stressful at work, but maybe I'm making the stress for myself. Maybe it's okay. And what else? Nothing really. Today, we finally took our vegetable seeds and planted them. So this year will hopefully be good because we have a little bit more space. So we plant like 4 tomatoes, eggplant, what's this in English? Cucumber. What was there? Basil, rosemary, and things like that. So a lot, actually, a lot. Also pumpkin. It occupies some space now, but the children liked it a lot and like putting it there and then when is it coming out and so on. So that was fun. That was my day today, essentially shopping also. And tomorrow I have no idea what's gonna happen. How about you? Did you feel the shake earlier today in Miyagi? No. So Miyagi is quite far from here. It was a 6.8, I think, on the Richter scale. In Japan scale, it was a 5. And no, nothing. Just from phone, just from the news. But yeah, of course. So Miyagi is close to Fukushima again. So every time something happens in that area, I'm getting concerned, and it happens quite frequently. So some things are still aftershocks from the earthquake 10 years ago, and some are separate, but still, because I don't know how stable that is, and what would happen if another quake of similar magnitude would happen. So yeah, don't know. Wheel? Now maybe I don't get it. Typo. Oh. I found this channel yesterday and noticed you are literally living the dream I'm trying to accomplish. A German living in Japan working for IT. Okay. Looks like Christoph. Well, if that's your dream, I hope you will be able to accomplish it. Oh, I see. Aminox felt it a bit in Hokkaido. I see. Ah, yeah. Even my wife said it. I think it was. Even she said like up to Hokkaido. Yeah, but not here. Not here. I mean, there are Alps in between. After all. Yeah. By the way, I've never been to Hokkaido. Can you believe it? I mean, generally, I've only been to Honshu so far. Yes, Hokkaido is nice, presumably. And yeah, but I also don't have plans to go to Hokkaido for obvious reasons right now. I'm not traveling so much, but hopefully after all this, maybe next year, who knows? At least the 4 big islands would be nice. And I'm maybe going to Kyoto middle of May so currently there's a state of emergency in Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, where else? Hyogo maybe? I think so. And once this state of emergency ends, I think is scheduled to end on May 9th. And then on the week after or so, maybe I go and meet a couple of other YouTubers and make some content. Oh, looks like Christoph was in Japan in January last year. Lucky. Good timing. As we say in Japan, just safe. It really, 1/5 of the landmass, only 1/20 of the population of Japan. Yes, that is Hokkaido. But how is it shaped? It's pretty mountainous, right? And cold. I guess that's why there are not so many. I mean, also historically, I think it was like, when did the Japanese occupy Hokkaido? Pretty recent, right? Like 150 years ago or so. Or 200. I mean, what's that? Yamato, Japanese. Today is start of 5-day long weekend. Oh, excellent. Oh, you mean Japan? Oh, yeah. So yeah, it's part of Golden Week. So Thursday was a day off, and most people probably took the Bridge Gap Day on Friday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are also off, public holidays. But I work, so I don't have that. So my plan is to work, and then maybe I take Tuesday off and climb a mountain, because then the weather's supposed to be nice. But if I can, I will do it Thursday or so, because then there are not so many people. Then then I don't have to get over myself so much when I start speaking to the camera like this in front of everybody. Yeah, well, that's how it is. But we get substitute holidays, so that's also fine. Then I can take it whenever. Ah, that was you. Looks like Christoph says, luckiest thing I was meeting abroad in Japan gave him the beers in the live stream. Just my duties as a German. I see. That was you. Yeah, he even talked about it later, maybe on Patreon or so. Like that some people told him it felt like he was too, no, I wouldn't say, not rough is not the right word, but, too fast. Not dismissing you, but like moving on, which he kind of had to, right? And I gave him the beer and he went on and so on. Yeah, but nice one. Good timing. I have not met Chris Broad yet. Not yet. But I do have a raisin butter bread thing. Oh yeah, Natsuki and Pete and Charla were also there, right? For those who don't know, probably most of you know, Chris Broad is the host of the Abroad in Japan. That's a pun channel, which is one of the biggest in Japan, maybe the third biggest or so, second, third, fourth, pretty big, like Japan-focused content. It was okay. I was talking with Charla instead. She was nice. Oh, nice. It's much smaller than you think. I think it's like 175, right? What JVTubers have you met? I don't know. So I've been to there's a YouTube Hanami once a year, before Corona it was. And I was 2019 for the first and only time. And I met not so many, I think. And before that, in 2017, there was a party from a channel called Yummy Japan, which was run by a guy who previously ran a channel called Two Men Japan, Charlie and Victor, Frame of Travel. And there were a couple of others like Aussie Awesome and Doga TV. I think they're also not doing anything anymore. And a couple of smaller ones. There was there. Then you may have seen Dave Trippin, which I made videos. I mean, on my channel, I made a video once with him, and then on his, I was twice, and once on his podcast. And then that's more or less it, I think. Some others, for example, Guy Gillionaire, whom I knew from almost the start when I had like 50 subscribers. He had like 200. But he's not so Japan focused. He's more games, Nintendo, and so on. He makes nice content. And recently had, thankfully, a lot of success. So now he's at 30,000 almost, I think. Yeah. So I know a couple, but none of the super big ones. There are also not so many of the super big ones. At least not so many that come to mind. Maybe Chris Broad, Paolo Guzman from Paolo from Tokyo, Rachel and Jun. That's the only three I know with more than 1 million. Then only in Japan, which now is not the same host anymore, which is now being done half of the host is now Dave Trippin, whom I know. And then I don't know after that. Maybe I don't know some of the really big ones, but then of course there's Shala, who's kind of big, and then Norm, Tokyo Lens at some point, some others. I haven't seen a lot in Japan and COVID. Australia is doing well. Japan is so currently it's hard, especially for the Osaka region. They have like 2,200 cases today. And vaccination is about, I think they vaccinated 2.4 million, which is about 2% now, which is laughable compared to everywhere else almost of the development, like first world. Like even Germany, where they are complaining all the time how slow it is, they have 25-ish% or even more. America, of course, good. England, Israel, and so on. But Japan is still pretty. There's room. There's some room for improvement, I think. But the plan is, if I remember correctly, from July or so, to open up for the public, general public. Yes, that's about COVID. Have you been in Tottori Desert? No, I haven't. So for those who don't know, Tottori is a prefecture, I think, on the Sea of Japan side, where I've never been. And it's maybe also one of the bigger ones of Honshu. It's this biggest island, and there's a dune desert beach thing that looks like you're in the desert essentially, but of course you're not. But yeah, that's there. I don't know if it would be enough for a whole video, but I think John Daub, another big YouTuber, used to be big YouTuber from back then abroad in only in Japan, the big channel. He did a video, I think, only on that. Yes. Now I talk a lot about these other J YouTubers, J vloggers, but maybe most of you are not interested. Hokkaido became a prefecture in 1947, was occupied in 1868. Yeah, okay. In 1669, it was put under control of Meiji government. That seems not correct. Maybe it should be 1869, probably. Don't go there in winter when it's too cold. It's so cold. I see. So you've been there. Yes, 1869. Looks like Christoph. Have you been here a lot? Or did you just this one time last year where you went to Sapporo and Tottori and somewhere else? Typing is horrible. Oh, of course, there's one more. Life where I'm from is also a big one. Yeah, but I've never talked to him in person. 4 times in 2 years. Oh, that's a lot. And now 0 times in 1.5 years. That's unfortunate, I assume. Each 10 to 14 days. Okay. Yeah, that's something that would be unthinkable for Japanese, of course. So when you work here in IT, most likely this won't work. Depending on your company, of course. But I mean, standard is after 6 months, you get 10 days. And these are also sick days. So better be careful. So I don't know how it is to be an employee in Germany because I was self-employed. But I feel comparing the environment is probably similar. IT is IT, but of course the environment of the environment, like the regulations for holiday and so on, certainly Germany is much, much better if you are interested in spare time. You should visit in winter. The München Festival in Sapporo is fun. The München Festival, like Oktoberfest, and it's in winter. Yeah, I mean, I like snow. I love snow. So yeah, I should. And I mean, Nagano obviously has snow, Winter Olympics and so on. But here in Nagano City, it starts usually November-ish or early December, but it's not constant. It's not like you have like 2-3 months of snow. It's like 1 week and then 2 weeks not, and then again and so on. So it's always like up and down. And now, for example, it's still not really spring. It's kind of getting there, but for example, today it was warm but rainy. Today between 6 and 22, tomorrow again between 15 and 1, and so on. It's been like that, sometimes minus and so on. So it's not neither hot or cold, I would say, right now. If you're full-time, you get 4 weeks annual leave and build up sick leave for every day you work here in Australia. I see. We also have super, which is like a retirement fund that businesses pay into. I see. So, yeah. In Germany, I don't know the regulations. Probably by law, it's like 25. Most give 30 days, so 6 weeks. And sick leave, when you're sick, you're sick. But it doesn't count. So let's say you're on vacation, then you get sick. Then you get the vacation back if you want to. And you're not allowed to take overtime, to do overtime. If you do, then you have to replace it with taking off. And depending on your contract, I think there may be some managerial exceptions, but generally. And in Japan, that's not. Japan is like, you shall not do more than 100 hours of overtime per month. And that's, of course, a different story. Are you still in Japan? Yes, I am. I'm in Nagano City, in Nagano Prefecture. That's about in the center of Japan, very center. Nagano Prefecture. City is a little bit north in the prefecture. Osaka, Tokyo. Tottori, Kobe, Okayama, Sendai, Aomori, Hakodate, Sapporo. Oh, so many, more than I have. I've been to Osaka, Tokyo, Kobe, Sendai. That's it off that list. Yeah, the thing is, probably, or for many, I think it's like that. If you move to Japan, if you live here, then you don't travel anymore. It's like you live in Germany now, you probably also don't travel so much around Germany because, that's where you live, that's your home. Also, you don't have so much time. Or if you have, you may use it to go back to Germany. But then he would have to live in Australia. Yes, unfortunately true. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I was also doing, because I was self-employed, I could do as many hours as I wanted to, and I usually did about 10 or so, plus break. But then also I would take maybe 8 weeks off or so in total. And of course, if you're sick when you're self-employed, you don't get paid. Super is an abbreviation for superannuation. New word for you. Yes. Did you apply for IT in Japan before getting there? No. So I came here actually as a tourist. So I was married to a Japanese woman, came here on a tourist visa, then applied when I was here. So then I changed the visa. And I was self-employed. And because I had a spouse visa, I also could do that in Japan. And then when it kind of dried out a little bit, then I applied to companies here when I was here. Hello, Daniel. Good to have you here. Aminok says, don't live in Australia. Everything there is designed to kill you. I guess scorpions, snakes, spiders, heat, fires. But I've never been there. My sister has for almost a year, and she loved it. Have you taken JLPT? No. But I get this question quite frequently on this chat. I think on average, like every other chat. John says some of us managed to survive. Yes, thankfully. Did you, LG says in German, did you marry in Japan? Yes. Did you get married in Japan? Yes, but also in Germany. So the official, first in Germany, so that's the official date and the official like bureaucratic stuff. And then we had another ceremony also in Japan. So Germany, ceremony, moved to Japan, ceremony here, which means pay twice. But I remember fondly the German one and my wife more the Japanese one. So we have both something to look back at and think, yeah, that was good. Did you meet your Japanese wife in Germany? I met her first in Japan, but I got to know her in Germany. Well, makes sense, right? The wildlife isn't so bad, says Naomi Moran. I live in rural, so we have lots of spiders. I love them. They are adorable. I see. Okay. I guess everybody's perspective may be different. Personally, I'm okay with spiders and so on. Maybe not super large spiders. So in Germany, they're like all small. In Japan, they get bigger than Germany, but not here. And yeah, my wife doesn't, or my wife's family, or maybe Japanese in general, don't like them in the house, as well as like flies or something like that. So yeah, if something is in here, then she needs me, and then I, put a glass over it and throw it out. Hi, Daniel says Aminox. Yes, Daniel, here again, as every time. Thank you. Australia is nice. The schools were fun. It's not that bad with the animals. Oh, yeah. Looks like Christoph. Looks like you've traveled far and wide. Did you struggle with whether you would live in Germany or Japan when you got married? Yeah, not really. So first we wanted to go to Japan for 3 months, but then it didn't work out with how my wife was pregnant. So we said, okay, let's stay for a year. And then now we're here. So she wants to live here. And for me, I like Japan and so on. But when it gets bad, then I'm like, God damn it, we should go back to Germany. everything is bad here. Like when I get the disease, or when I get like, it's not work is stressful or something, or I don't have enough time for myself or things like that, or I want to do more training and things like that. If that's not working to a level where it's like too much, then I start complaining about Japan, which is of course not good. And the struggle is more like ongoing when something like that happens, but we did not have a struggle deciding, because for me it was like whatever, and my wife said let's go to Japan, so that was it. What developer are you? I used to be an Android developer. No, I'm not. Almost never look. I look at code, I review code, but more from an architectural standpoint now, not so much functional. So functional is more just like on the device testing. So I'm an engineering manager now. So it's more people and schedules and stuff, making sure the team has what it needs in order to achieve. Mr. Worldwide. Spiders are adorable. Should like saying syphilis is the best STD. Oh, 23 people. Good number. Thank you for being here. And since you're here already, maybe quickly press the like button if you haven't already. Kind of like a project manager. No, that's different. So project manager is the manager of the project. I'm a manager of engineers. So still very IT. I'm technically in charge, not really in charge, but responsible. So if something goes wrong, I'm to be blamed. Something goes well, maybe not. But I make sure that people don't leave the company. They feel well. They follow their career path at least, or they get the career they want to. They are not blocked by anything. Negotiate with upper management, other teams, and things like that. And the project manager would be more like, make sure the schedule is okay, talk to me if it's something with the team is not working, make meetings for like things in this direction, I think. And this guy would probably more say like, okay, we need to have done by here, and after that this, so he would give us more structure. And I would then say, I and my team would probably initially say, we need this much time in order to achieve this feature or product or something. If that makes sense. What is the worst aspect of your life in Japan? So it's a tough question. So I think the toughest is to be separate. So obviously different, very homogeneous, like a lot of Japanese people in Japan, native Japanese people, more so in the country area where I am. So in this city, there's 1% foreigners, and of these foreigners, about 3,300, only 600 are non-Asian. So Caucasians, not so many. Usually, if I see another one, it's like, wow, there's the other one, like this. So there's a very obvious separation visually. And then, of course, if the language is not there on a really good level or good enough level, or you're not outgoing and so on, like I'm not, then it makes it harder for you, and the culture is not as easy to understand for somebody that has not been born here or lived here for a long time. So that was, especially initially, a lot of struggle, I think. Knowing nobody, I worked at home, that doesn't help. Things like that. That was, I wouldn't say it's the worst, but it's very hard. I think probably it's the hardest, and probably it's also kind of one of the reasons why many people leave. So they have, first, when you come here as a tourist, it's very polite, right? So you get the tatemae, the facade of the smiling face, and everything's good, and you're the customer probably, and you're a guest, so everybody's nice. But then you come here, and then the expectations change. Like, you're more and more expected to integrate well, and you understand more and more that it's actually not the way you thought. So your dreams are kind of maybe not crushed, but reality kicks in. And then maybe many people say, okay, it's so different and I can't or something, go back, or it's too inconvenient. Who knows? And currently, yeah, so recently, because I've been diagnosed with some disease and I have to see doctors every now and then, that's probably the worst. I don't like doctors. For a reason we don't need to discuss maybe, but not being able to perfectly understand them makes it even more inconvenient or more worse. Yeah, that's what I can come up with. The other one would be food and stuff. So there was, for example, there is an alcohol shop not too far from here, and they had German beer, Weissbier, from Munich, my hometown, kind of home area town. And it sold out, and it's not they didn't get new one, it's just gone. So that's very sad and hard. And sometimes I go to like a store and I think maybe I should get a beer, and I check and it's like, oh no, nah. Or maybe I just drink water, like now. Very, very weak beer tonight. Yes, exactly. It's quite kind of watery. Instead of producing something, you now manage resources and personnel, right? Yes. Which is hard, I think. Often people say it's a promotion, but it's not. It's a change. It's a change in career. I mean, probably you also get paid better, but it's like you do a completely different job actually, and you have no training, most likely, or kind of maybe, but you know. Trust me, Europe is not a better place to be right now. Yeah, probably not so fun. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, here, I think legally it's not possible to do something like a lockdown, just state of emergency, which means recommendations, strong recommendations. And currently it's like, the recommendation is that bars should close at 8 p.m. Like, what's that? And of course, for example, the prefecture here recommends not to go to another prefecture or to a prefecture where there are lots of cases like Tokyo. It's like, yeah, of course I can go, but would I go and then get infected and infect somebody else, for example, then I would be in trouble in the company, right? And so on, because company public image and so on, and that's risky. So that's, I guess, why most people do what they are told. Culture shock. Looks like Christoph. Yeah, culture shock, kind of. Late culture, like layers of culture shock, I think. Second worst, you're naturally isolated, but by not really understanding how Japanese think. Yes, that's true. Like I read this book on anthropology, Jinruigaku in Japanese. I don't know, anthropology probably. And then I read it about Japan. It's like, I never knew. Because the concepts that exist in Japanese that they take for granted that absolutely not exist in my country, and then I of course take for granted that this doesn't exist. I'm like, what? And I have no idea what I don't know, right? So who knows what's left? Probably a lot. And if there's somebody that tells me, Johannes, you shouldn't do that in Japan or so, then first I'm like, usually if you're told to do not something or you did something wrong, then maybe you have like a defense mechanism. But then of course I'm very thankful because that's what I need. Do you still work to learn Japanese? Yes, of course. You don't like Japanese beer? Depends. Sometimes it's good and sometimes not. Today I actually got Sapporo, which is like a Belgian beer from the Sapporo brewery, but I don't know. I haven't tasted, and I don't know if it's good or not. I know some people, like said YouTuber Chris Broad from abroad in Japan. He loves Sapporo. He says it's the best. I think it's kind of okay, maybe. Are you still in Japan? I am. Yes. Still in Japan and not going anywhere soon because, Corona and stuff. I love Japan, and I'm also married to a Japanese. Oh, I'm on a student visa for almost 5 years in Australia now. And as the time goes on, I kept thinking about going to Japan after my uni graduation. Yeah, why not? I mean, if you are married, you get a spouse visa, just come here and do whatever you want because you're on a spouse visa. You can work, you can not work, you can be self-employed. People in general are hard to understand. One reason why I want a dog. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And in Japan, it's also, they say you should be able to read the air. It's like reading between the lines. And but to do that, of course, you need the cultural background. You need the context, right? So it's super hard. And I mean, then if you say to Japanese, yeah, I can read the air, then they say, yeah, I also can do that. But that's a different level of can't. They may say they also have sometimes some misunderstandings, or they don't understand women or men or whatever, or humans. But for me, it's like I don't get anything, which is maybe blissful ignorance. True, Sapporo beer is kind of overrated. Call me old-fashioned, but Asahi is kind of the best out of the big four companies. I don't remember when I had Asahi the last time. I remember I had a Yebisu, and I remembered it kind of good, and then I drank it, and I couldn't finish it. It was too bad. Maybe I had a bad one of them. Aminox has unfortunately been forced to realize that understanding Japanese will be a lifelong pursuit. After you become semi-fluent, you realize there are so many nuances and layers that you don't know. Yes, yes. Sapporo exclusive beer, classic version, which you only can buy in Sapporo, is kind of good, but only get them there. Yeah, then maybe Alminox is well versed in that. You can read the German air much better, I guess. Yeah, maybe, but Germans are also like, if they are grumpy or something, which they are a lot, then they are just grumpy and show that and show you. Maybe too much even. It's weird how much harder it is abroad. Yeah, but also this experience made me like consider a little bit more. I always think like, for example, America, of course, it's also a Western country. It must be the same. But now I'm thinking, well, is it really? Maybe it's totally different and so on. And I have no idea because I never lived there I've never been there, but I also never lived there. Video idea: get a visa in Japan with one easy step. Step 2, marry a Japanese national. Yeah, with this one life hack. Step 1, marry Japanese national. Yes, that's it. That's what I did. Who was that? Ricardo may do. He married, but then he will maybe. Probably very different. It's small cultural things and body languages being different. Yes. Physiology. Yes. So also, of course, there are different nationalities in my company, and then with the Americans and so on, they're totally different. Like, or Californians, maybe even more than New Yorkers again, and so on. So America's, of course, a big country. Don't think my German wife would approve that step. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe should find some kind of. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. If she became Japanese, Germans are easy to read. They only have 2 professional attitudes. 1, I'm the boss, and 2, I'm sorry. Bit exaggerated, but close to truth. But that's also Japanese, right? I mean, very hierarchical, classically. Not everybody. Is your company international? Yeah. It's an international. It's a Japanese company, a global Japanese company. Yeah. And yes, Kathy Cat is from a very cheerful German. Excellent Japanese, excellent English, much better than mine. And she now has a show on NHK, which will air next week or something for the first time. Which is very nice to see, like this, her making this jump, which it seems like she wanted to, from YouTube to mainstream TV. I've been on Japanese TV only once, and not like actively, like I go somewhere and they film me, but they just showed like 30 seconds of one of my videos. And once I've been on German TV, and just like even less, 2 seconds or something. If even the Yokozuna Hakuho has problem to get a Japanese citizenship, your chances are almost none to zero. I don't know if that plays so much of a role there. I mean, I know I've talked to people that have naturalized, and it's possible, but I wouldn't want to. Or I didn't see the benefit now, except for that maybe I could vote. Have you talked to abroad in Japan ever? Not in person, only on virtually. On the Mocha train, it already premiered. Oh, I see. It already premiered. I see. You probably get this question a lot. About abroad in Japan? No. I mean, yeah, I messaged him last year in April or so and said, I want to call up with you. And he said, yeah, let's have a drink once I'm in Nagano. And, yeah, of course he's not. Or he thought I was in Nagano, but I had to clarify I'm in Nagano right now, but I actually live in Yokohama. And then when he came here for his tour in Japan, journey across Japan too, I was just not here. And then I moved here again, so I don't know. If our paths ever cross, then I guess we can have a good conversation, hopefully. The only national I met who was even more direct than us Germans was a Dutch guy. Okay, I think the Americans can also be direct. I mean, here definitely, that's also something in the professional environment when you come as a mid-career hire, which means as a foreign mid-career hire, which means you have no idea about work culture and so on. And then another mid-career hire from a Japanese company joins you, a very Japanese company, and then you say no to him. So he wants something, you say no. Then it's like, I should talk to your boss or something like that. That happened to me. So yes, so this directness can be a problem sometimes, but you know, that's how it is. I think Chinese can also be very direct, at least the ones I know, or I'm working with, or have worked with. The only national, no, I already read that. Have you watched the Trash Chase podcast? Yes, every now and then. Probably more the highlights than the whole podcast because they're shorter. Germans are not grumpy. They have great humor. It's just very sarcastic and underrated. Very, very sarcastic even. I don't know. Sometimes I watch German comedy and it's like, yeah, nobody would find it. Nobody outside of German would think that's funny probably. But maybe some would. I don't know. I think it's very special. And now that I live abroad for like almost 5 years, I think I feel Germans are quite charming. So when I went to the embassy a couple of weeks ago, I thought like, wow, so German here. And people there, real German, speaking German, and everybody there is German or wants something from Germany. And that was like, it's like that. And for Germans, of course, again, it's normal, and that's just how the world is, because it's their world. But now it's like I can look at it from a little different perspective, and I think like, funny but lovely. For me, that's my idea. And about the humor, yeah. I mean, I think it's like everywhere on average. Like Germans also like to laugh and be happy. But apart from that, they're also very direct and sometimes sarcastic. Yes. Anyone watching Don't Trust the Rabbit YouTube channel. She's a pretty happy German. Oh. No. Didn't know. Americans are super direct and loud. Yes, that's correct. sometimes. I remember I was in 2014. I was in a restaurant in Tokyo, sitting there alone. Only Caucasian guy, and then Americans came in immediately. Like, wow! I mean, presumably Americans, very loud, and asked if they had Kobe beef, which they didn't understand why they would ask that, because of course not. Yeah. Americans will tell you something right to your face. As an American, damn you, Moriarty. A good video idea would be what paperwork you need to have for an apartment, energy company, what internet provider is good, and so on. Yes, probably also very searchable, depending on how much it's searched, of course. But I don't like to do that because it's, I mean, some, as you know, may know, I made a video about Japanese visa and so on. When was it? 4 years ago. And it took so long to research, and it's very hard to perform. One, because it's very dry, and two, because it's remembering a lot of facts and bringing them across correctly. And it's just not a very fun video to make. Although it's still being watched, I think. Do you still watch the Heute Show? No. I haven't watched it in some time. Do they still have Gernot, what was his name? You know, the little bald guy who's screaming all the time? Hassknecht, maybe? Gernot Hassknecht? Yeah. Hey, Ninja Monkey. Just realized the stream was here, damn. No. Yeah, I left a message there, like, go here. But I hope everybody realized now. Mediterranean people are louder. Are they? I mean, I have a lot of actually relatives living in Italy. And at least my aunt, she's very loud. But she's actually from Germany and moved there. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or if it's just how she is. Japanese can be loud as well, especially when drunk. Yes, but not comparable, I think. At least what I've seen in like Roppongi, where I used to have where my office used to be, which is kind of a very nightlifey area at night, compared to Germany, and especially how annoying and like respectless they can be. It's not comparable. The national stereotype live stream. Yes. No, they aren't really. I don't know what this relates, if it's about Mediterraneans or Japanese. Gernot is still there, screaming at you to subscribe at ever. I see. Nice. Maybe Greeks. Yeah, I also know a lot of Greek people. I loved it there when I haven't been, I think the last time was 2013 or so. My Aikido teacher was still alive, went there for seminar. It was great. I mean, I've been to Greece only 3 times. And the times before I was like alone, but then, because then I knew a lot of Greek people and were there with them, it's a totally different story for me, at least. It's like going out, you like 10 euros, that's fine. And you drink as much as you want. And here's a mountain of meat, and there's like the side dishes and all that stuff. That was great. And of course, again, it's holidays, so you don't have to take care of anything. You just go there and eat and then train and then sleep and drink in between. Have you learned to watch, understand, and enjoy Wednesday Downtown on Japanese TV? No. I don't even know what that is. So, I mean, I watch Japanese TV every now and then. If I just happen to be there when my wife watches some drama and I think like, oh, that's ridiculous, because in my opinion, essentially all Japanese dramas are ridiculous in some area, on some level. So then I may watch it for some time, but for one episode maybe, but that's it. It amazes me how loud Japanese people are in an izakaya. And the moment they leave the izakaya door, they are quiet and polite. That's true. But then also, like, the izakaya, maybe like they have their own separate room, maybe when they're with their friends, and then it's a little different. And they do this a lot when they are laughing. Sorry, maybe that was surprising. I hope you don't have headphones. How is the concept of home office working in Japan? I mean, for me, it's working well. And I think generally it is. Some companies like Line closed already one office, the big office in Shinjuku, and others also, I think, cutting down a lot. Nightly lively area at night. Yes, night lively. Nightly lively. Nightly nightlife area. At night or late evening. Always loved Greek people. Yes, yes. I have to travel down here once you can travel. Yeah, I mean, maybe from the Mediterranean, maybe Gibraltarians are the loudest. Who knows? I have some Lebanese friends here in Sydney, and I had a barbecue the other day with them, and they are so loud. And this is coming from a Brazilian. Okay. Yeah, maybe we should make some ranking. Everybody thinks they're loud except for Japanese, maybe. I don't know about Germans. Maybe at least my perceptions of Germany are not positively loud. To be honest, the main reason I want to live in Japan is because in the city, they at least use 24 hours of the day. If I want to eat out at 3:43 a.m., I can just go out and eat. That's true. I mean, you can still, I guess in Germany, you can also go to McDonald's. And here, depending on the city or which McDonald's, here, yeah, I mean, depends where you are. I mean, a great restaurant, maybe not, but Matsuya, maybe, something like that. Yes. So much stuff to do after work. But who knows if you can. Depends on your work and so on, and on your environment. So if you actually have energy left and time. May I ask, what is your profession? I'm an engineering manager. But when I came to Japan here, when I joined a Japanese company, I was an Android developer, architect, so senior lead developer thing. Downtown is a comedian group that seems to dominate TV. They do the Silent Library show and similar punishment game shows. My wife is addicted. I see. Probably when I Google them, I know it. Maybe not. Anyway, I will look more later. Well, you got Gibraltarian. Oh, right. Gibraltans. Yeah, probably because in German we would say Gibraltarer or something like that, but not Gibraltans. Gibraltars. Yeah, that's not an option in Germany. Gibraltarians. Mercedes audio Benz. I mean, Mercedes and Benz is the same, but if the last one should be BMW. So I probably like the look of Audi the most, but I've driven BMW the most out of the three. Mercedes also very comfortable. No, I think I've never driven an Audi. Have I? Maybe not. So I can really comment on that. But probably Audi. That silence is the most honest answer you have ever given. How can you judge that? Do you watch Sasuke on TBS? No. No. Just because I don't know when it's running. Like, that's how interested I am in Japanese TV. BMW, okay. What do you miss from Germany the most? Cannot say family. Friends? Opel. Yeah, no, not Opel, I think. What's some other car I would like? I think. I mean, I like charming cars, maybe more than super fast or so. Like space wonders or something, if you will. So look small on the outside, feel very big on the inside, something like the K cars. Yeah. But I'm not sure. So I probably wouldn't spend like a fortune on a car. Like I wouldn't buy Porsche, a newborn at least. But I mean, Tesla is probably the most appealing of the like upper class cars for me. Oh, you own an Audi. Nice. Great minds think alike. Like a hippie van. Yeah, not necessarily. That's a little bit too much. I mean, it needs to be functional and for what I need, and I don't need to stay in there or something. So I don't think they would be a little bit too big. And when I think hippie van, I also think no servo, support for steering and so on. So that's too much for me. I mean, I since I'm in Japan now, I've also gotten used to automatic transmission, and so I'm getting like in this direction even more. How are the cars in Japan for us tall Germans? Do we fit in? Yeah, definitely. I mean, depends on which type, but for these like box things, they're super high. So I'm at 180 and I have probably like 20 centimeters or more. So you should be fine. No power steering and a strong scent of herbs. 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 I'm 193 and I fit perfectly in our K-car, says Aminox. There you go. Yeah, also ours. So the previous one we had, not actually us, but my mother-in-law, was Daihatsu, and it was small. So in the front it was okay. In the back I would hit my head if I sit upright, and it was like too, because I'm long. I have longer arms, for example, than my wife. I had to sit back a lot, and then because the wind, like my side is like this, so I see the street, but I don't see above. So it feels like I'm missing something all the time. Didn't like that at all. And now with the car we have now, it's much better. Do you ever accidentally reach for the gear shift when driving automatic? No, I mean, not in Japan because I sit on the other side. Germany, we drive on the right side, here on the left. So accordingly, I used to shift with the right hand in Germany, and in Japan, there's the door, so it doesn't work. However, in the what is it, windshield wiping thing, wipers maybe, and the direction indicators are on the other side for most cars, not for German cars, which is confusing for Japanese. So sometimes if I want to go left, then all of a sudden it's like boop, boop, boop. That happened a couple of times, but no, it's okay. But maybe when I go back to Germany, then it would happen there. Spring, summer, autumn, or winter in Japan? Spring, I think. Not sure if it's justified, but when I came here for the first time was on the 14th of May 2009. So spring. And it was great. So it was just the right temperature everywhere I went. So I was just in Tokyo and here in Nagano. It was perfect. And definitely not summer. Autumn can be nice. Like it has this still pretty good weather area or period where you can be like in t-shirt or so. And then of course the colors, foliage, very nice. And winter can also be nice if you like snow and cold and all that. And in Tokyo, it doesn't even snow. Depends. But for me, it's spring, clearly. I think the car culture over in Japan is pretty awesome. I understand that not everybody is into it, but I feel like there's a lot you could explore there. Yeah, I think so too. But I'm not into it. I know there's another one, Drift Hunter Albo. He has his channel also is bigger now, maybe 200,000 or more. He does like the drifting things. What's your opinion? What's in your opinion the best place to live? City, suburbs, or countryside? Countryside. And meet people with wacky cars. In addition to it, yes. I mean, Yes, I mean the average people. Most of the cars you see here are like K cars or maybe some classic, like of course Japanese makers and so on. Sometimes you see like Yankee cars, Japanese Yankees, so very like lowrider. These like dices hanging in the front, plush dices and things like that. And sometimes you also see like cars that where you think, okay, maybe this guy is like drifting, but not very frequent. However, the fact that the controls around the steering wheel are mirrored compared to Western cars took a long time to learn. Ah, yes. I mean, I've never driven a manual in Japan, so I would imagine. Today I've seen a nice car, a funny car I liked, a cute car maybe. It's like a two seats, super small, and like Goju Kyumang. What's that? About $5,900. But I think it's manual, so that would be the first time if I was to try that one. I've seen a sauna car in Japan called K Sauna. It looks so cool. Oh, that sounds nice. Maybe I also have an onsen car, K Onsen. Summer is so humid, winter is nice, but not during New Year. Nothing is open. Yeah, yeah, New Year's. And also like probably you come from Germany or so, and then you think, yeah, Japan, they must have great fireworks. And they do, but not at New Year. I mean, I think in Tokyo there are some now for foreigners or something, but here, no. It's like silent. You hear the bell of the temple 108 times, 107 times in the old year, and the 108th time in the new year. And people go to the temple and offer their respect and things like that. So it's very family, very silent in comparison. And then this, because the fireworks and so on comes from driving away demons, right? In Japan, that's Setsubun, which is in February, 3rd of February. So then you throw beans, which demons apparently don't like. Oni, Japanese demons here. Those cars that have hydraulics, yeah, I don't know if it was like one of these, but so there's one not so far from here. It never moves. It's just parked all the time. I've never seen move in 5 years. So when I lived here for the first time, it also was there. But yeah, it looks pretty interesting. The 2 times I've been to Japan. Oh wait, I missed a couple of messages. Although those summer festivals are amazing, and sometimes summer is underrated in my opinion. Yes. I mean, not that summer is bad. It's just not my bad per se, despite being intensely humid and hot. But yeah, evening, especially in this area, because here the evening is still cool. So, and then like a nice, it's kind of, you get you suffer through the day, and then finally evening you get your award or something. You did it yet again. And Tokyo is like, yeah, evening is still hot. air condition. But yeah, of course, Matsuri, great thing. So Matsuri festivals with a lot of like stalls, and then you get like skewers and whatever. The 2 times I've been to Japan were in deep summer. My first trip was in 2018. It was 47 degrees in Tokyo. It was safe to say it was a bit hot. Yeah, I was also in Tokyo, and that I didn't, because I was in Tokyo, but I worked. So I'm like in an office that's like 25 degrees or so. I think I got sick because of that, because of the switching of the hot, super hot, like 20 degrees every time I go inside, outside. But I didn't realize it was that hot. The cars you see with anime characters plastered all over them in Japan are called itasha, brown kanji, meaning painful car. Oh, that's where the chi comes from. Yeah, I think those cars, There are a couple of painful cars, I think. One is this the when there's like voting season and the politicians drive around and they yell. I mean, recently in a very residentialist area here, it was like that, and he's like, "I'm sorry for speaking with such a loud voice," blah 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 blah, and then he excused himself again and so on. So yeah, that's there, and then there are the cars that collect the trash, not they drive around and say, "We collect your washing machine, your dishwasher," and so on. And then they're very nationalistic. They have like the old Japanese flag, this where the sun with the rays is on, and they play like some music. Like, da, 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 da. That's the ones. That would be my Itasha. And maybe also some K-pop or J-pop bands on there and music super loud. I mean, it's okay for where they are, but still, I don't like it a lot. Biggest lie, I was in Osaka, no fireworks. Felt so betrayed. Oh no. What a disappointment. But probably at least some bars or so were open, I guess. I don't think that's happening here. Poor demons scared by beans. Yeah, I know. I don't know why, but yeah. Madman is back. Yes, Madman. We've all been waiting for you, I think. Who's your favorite? Is beans any worse than garlic or salt? Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I mean, you would have to ask an Oni. Who's your favorite movie actor? I don't know. Maybe Forrest Whitaker. But I haven't seen a movie of him in like 10 years, so I don't know. Actually, who could that be? And probably none. Or let me think a little more. Not sure. It's difficult. Do you prefer winter or summer? Depends where. Both good, but no, same, I think. For Japan, kind of the same. What's, in your opinion, the most underrated Japanese food? Rice. I can only you can comment if you want me to elaborate. I can only mainly travel in summer, but been in winter and autumn too. Nice. Not autumn. Okay. Yeah, but summer is nice. It's warm, and you're from Gibraltar. Maybe you're more used to it than me. For me, it's like even here not these days when it's like getting like 20 plus, and we drive by car, and I do like this, then I'm burnt. I'm red afterwards. Do you like spicy foods, like spicy ramens? Not at all. No, I can't eat spicy. Then I'll be in pain afterwards. One time I got sick actually by accident. So we went to a Thai restaurant in Roppongi, and I took of course, the not least spicy thing, but they had a soup in the beginning, and that was so hot, then I got sick. So spicy. So I mean, maybe not for them, probably not at all. But... Okay, Mr. Moriarty or Mr. Vivaldi. Also, take care. Have a nice evening and nice weekend. The politicians don't use the normal Japanese flags. They use the rising sun flag. That's a military flag, isn't it? No, that's a very nationalist thing. I don't know if that's even a party or anything. Maybe just people that think we need to be like more proud of our nation and so on. What is your most favorite product that is only available in Japan? Only in Japan. I mean, I love tatami, but maybe a kotatsu. That's like a table with a blanket that's heated. And other things. Reliable trains. That's a good... I don't know if that counts as a product. But yeah. Yeah, also... I once had a Shinkansen that was late. Not 45 minutes, but some like 10 or so. like considerable. Was pretty like quite the travel time, so a lot of people and so on. This worldwide rise in nationalism is going to be bad for people. I agree. Yeah, but of course, like comparing back to the trains, comparing the trains in Japan to Germany, it's again no comparison. In German trains, I think if it's less than 5 minutes late, they don't consider it late. Also at the station, they say just, what do they say? Something like slightly delayed or so. And then from 5 minutes, then it's starting like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 or something like that. So, and it happens a lot. So it's always, in Germany, I got used to, if I want to go somewhere far and it's time critical, I have to go really early to make up for any delays. And now in Japan, that means then back, for example, when I interviewed, I was always like 45 minutes early at least. Because of course, no delay, everything on time, bam, 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 every connection, no problem. And then I'm there and like, oh, what should I do now? From 10 minutes, okay. So German Deutsche Bahn, it's a German train company. After 10 minutes, they consider it delay. I've been to Germany once. I really liked that place. The people were amazingly friendly, but never been to Japan. But I've never been to Japan once. Are Japanese people more friendly than Germans? Different friendly, I think. So when my German friends came here for the first time, they said it's the most friendly people they've ever met. But it's of course like a very surface level friendliness, not very heartfelt, for example. I think maybe that's in that case German people maybe more like if they are friendly and if they smile, then usually they mean it. In Japan they also mean it, but differently. Unique to Japan, how clean and maintained everything is. Yes. And then on the contrasting, on the other hand, you have this like areas that are abandoned. For example, Nagano has a lot of that, like the everywhere where the Shinkansen doesn't go, where like in the 80s or so, they had like lots of people coming here with the wealthy, rich companies doing lots of trips and so on, gasku, and then all of a sudden money ran out and all these hotels are like abandoned, just go, leave everything there. It's like, why? Maybe companies broke, so they just don't do anything. Nobody comes back to work. Everything stays there. So that would be the contrast to the things that are actively maintained. And also I think Japan has a lot of these things that we as Westerners see as a contrast. For example, the houses also. Like usually, maybe I generalize, but from what I've seen, nice on the inside, and then on the outside, it's like the air conditioned units and like the power lines are over like hanging in the air and so on. It's like, why? For me, that's like that. Let's say they are if they have to. Yes, they won't go out of the way to help you, but if you ask, they will. The Germans, yes. Ninja Monkey has to head off. Yeah, was nice to chat, I guess. Chat. Thank you. I went to Düsseldorf with family and sat next to this old couple in a restaurant. They talked to us a bit. Then we saw them walking in the old town, Altstadt, and they waved to us. Nice. It's nice to not be bothered by handout people because they can't speak English. Right. Maybe I don't completely get it, but yes. Yeah. Okay, now I know what you mean. Okay. Yeah, depends where you are, I think, and how you are. So for me, when I'm with my kids, and then I was at the station, and there's like is what's that? More not like downtown, but more living areas. Smaller houses, many people and families. When you go there with your kids, then in front of the station are also are often people handing out flyers for houses, and if they see you have a kid, then yes, this guy probably not a tourist. Let's talk to him. And then of course, like, oh, you're Japanese, so good. Don't you want to have a house? How much rent do you pay? You could buy an apartment and so on. So that happens. I think like the more you are here, maybe the more you're not behaving like a tourist anymore, and then you can also get handouts. But still, it also happens that you don't. And also, handouts in Japan are more often than not also useful. For example, tissues or so, and then they have some advertisement on it. So that's also a good thing, I think, compared to Germany. We just get a flyer and then you throw it away. So Daniel Panic for the drone fund again. Thank you very much. Very appreciated. Yeah, today I wanted to do this like overlay where it says like I want to get a drone and this is what I need for that, and then count up like a progress bar. But again, it didn't work, unfortunately. Hi, Tanya is late. What? Yeah, that's true. But you can just go back. Oh, and for the beer fund from Aminox. Thank you so much. I don't know how much it is, but I guess something in the $5 range. What's DKK? I don't know. Crowns. Okay, that's like almost 800 yen. Thank you so much. The beer fund, yeah. Probably I will spend it someday. Depends. The thing here is when you get like a foreign beer, a Belgian, German or so, then it's like 400, 500, so $4 or $5. So that can be spent easily if you want it. But if you're just like for like the cheapest beer, then you can probably get more. I always wondered why they kept the power lines hanging like that in modern society like Japan, and was told it's because it's easier to maintain due to earthquakes and typhoons. Yeah, and landslides and so on here in this area. That's what I heard as well. But I don't know if it's true. If it's just cheaper. Cheaper probably. But I mean, it's not like, I don't know. Best time I had in Hokkaido was I met my cook from the hotel restaurant, and a few years later we went on a pub tour with no way to communicate other than Google Translate. Best night. Nice. He paid my drinks. I drank the equivalent of my Wagyu steak I ate at his restaurant. Excellent. Sounds great. I like going down a Japanese street and see the Showa era buildings. I wish I could go back there. I also hope you can go back here soon. And yeah, I also liked it. And I like the variety, especially so in Tokyo, I feel, compared to here, there are a lot more new buildings. So if there's something old, usually tear it down, make a new one, because the value is much higher. And here there's still a lot of like these maybe 40-year-old or so buildings. And then of course you have newer ones and something in between and all that. So you have a lot of variety, a couple of building generations. That's nice. Architecture in Japan isn't always super impressive. Yeah, that's true. Especially, I mean, also this house is not super impressive. I mean, you don't see it from the outside, but if you, this is the wall, it's like this thick. So insulation is like, yeah, not so much. And still, it's kind of expensive to build a house, I think, depending. Oh, it looks like Christoph. Thank you so much. Also, have a good one. Stay safe. And hopefully you can come back here too soon, and hopefully your plans to move here work out. Yeah, so architecture isn't always super impressive. Like thin walls, non-insulated or badly insulated, and also from the outside, not necessarily the most beautiful. But then, of course, again, there's super nice things like temples, shrines, and castles and things like that. And for example, here the big temple is called Zenkoji, and there at the street and area leading up there are no overland power lines. There, took them away. Oh, my light went off. It's out of battery. Can you believe it? I should have connected it to the power. Anyway, let's turn this one up. Maybe it's also a sign that it's already, that I should at some point call it a day. Okay, not yet. Have you been traveling around Japan during the pandemic when the government was promoting national travel? If yes, which places did you visit? I did use to go to travel twice, I think, to go to the office, which is in Tokyo. But that was it. And then I also went to Ibaraki to climb a mountain there with Dave Crippen, another YouTuber. But I didn't stay overnight. And there was a JR 2020 welcome pass for foreigners, I think, living in Japan, something like that. And I used that one 2 or 3 times. That's a train pass. So, yeah, that was for 3 days, and I used it to go to the office, not to travel. And other than that, I haven't. The grapevine whispers about perhaps opening for tourism in October if Olympic Games are not a super spreader event. Okay, I see. I didn't know that. But I think for Olympics, they plan to keep everything isolated anyway. Like athletes are not allowed to go outside and stuff like that. Oh my God, thank you so much, Daniel Panic. $9 using his Google Play credits. Thank you so much. Very appreciated. Today's a very lucrative chat or stream. Thank you so much. Where was I? Rachel and June are currently building a house and showing their progress on YouTube. Do you watch their videos? It's quite informative. And cute cats. Yeah, I do. Also adventures where they share, right? Super nice and they seem to have very nice neighbors, like very helpful. And of course, another good one is Tokyo Llama. If you know him, I don't know. He's rather new. I think last year is when he not started, but blew up. And he bought an Akia, a house that is not used anymore, for rather cheap, and renovated that. And yeah, he doesn't have a regular upload schedule, but it's very interesting and it feels like he's not making any. So it feels very genuine how he presents. And I love this kind of building and DIY and things like that. And then Japan, of course, again, it's nothing I know because I've never built a house here. So that's very interesting. Japan architecturally is caught between a rock and a hard place. Either built for insulation and aesthetics or built for safety and stability during earthquakes. The environment dictates a lot. Certainly. I was always, Yeah, often it's like I wonder something, like, for example, why is there always this tiny little gap between houses? Why don't they share a wall? And of course, it's earthquakes. One house goes down, the other one doesn't. I have a Google Rewards app where Indo surveys, and Google gives me a little money so that $9 didn't cost me anything. Perfect. Win-win. But still, thank you so much for spending it here. Tokyo Llama got an amazing house, yes, and garden also seems to be super large. I imagine there's not so much there, looks like, but if that's fine, why not? I mean, for me, maybe it would be fine if I had a car or so. I don't know if for the kids in the future. There's also that Akia website which lists a lot of those buildings. Oh, I didn't know. If you want, share it here. If you have a link. Samuel Wright didn't know Tokyo Llama. Yeah, he's a nice guy. I think. I haven't met him. But yeah. And they did it also rather cheaply. I forgot how much it was, like $35,000 or so, for which they bought the house, and then they spent, I think they spent more on renovating than, certainly more on renovating. Yeah, but that was nice. We have also been considering should we buy a house here or not, but we haven't decided. There's a nice plot of land here which is too large for most people, and that's why it's cheap, if that makes sense. Yeah, so thought about it, still thinking. Because I like space, so it would be nice. And the reason why it's cheap is not only because it's big, but it's big enough for two houses, but the driveway is only 2 meters wide, and for two houses you would need 4. So it's too big for most people, and they can't cut it down into multiple units, and that's why it's kind of cheap per square meter or square feet. How's the situation there in Japan right now? It's kind of okay where I am because I'm on the countryside-ish. Tokyo, Osaka, the bigger metropolitan regions, are in a state of emergency now. So it's kind of on the rise again, but not comparable to other countries like India, of course, also Germany or so on, where I'm from. And the state of emergency is not a lockdown, so it's rather non-strict. So people can still go outside and shop and so on, even can go to bars, things like that. But bars should close at 8 p.m. And so some limitations, but not comparable to other areas. Just looking at his thumbnails, he reminds me of Conny Ryman. Do you know that guy from Hamburg that got a TV show on Vox because he moved to the USA, where he's constantly building houses? Ah, yeah. Conny Ryman, he also does or did karate, and I forgot the name of his voice. He also seems like a nice guy. First in Texas, now in Hawaii. Oh, in Hawaii now. I knew Texas from like 8-9 years ago, but now Hawaii, also nice. As a YouTuber, doesn't it sometimes make you a little sad to see what types of videos blow up? I mean, how many apartment tour videos can we justify? I also have an apartment tour video which I took on my phone, not this one, but predecessor, and it also was like 500,000 or 600,000 views. So I'm totally fine with that. And I also want to make another one if the chance arises. So. But I want to do it like if I do something that somebody else has done, I want to do it much better, or like the best way anyhow possible in my capabilities. So that's my justification for then doing that. And yeah, but yeah, it's true. I think a couple of channels, even Paolo, had like the first where they started to gain traction was like an apartment, and more people see them. Like this time, maybe, and watch the other videos. Yes, 02431 is for an apartment tour video. Yes, yeah. So generally, the apartment we live in, I don't show because my wife doesn't want it because of privacy. So if we did it, it would be when we move out. And so when we moved from our first apartment, this is the third one. From the first apartment, I said, okay, give me some time. I want to film this here. But unfortunately, my younger one back then was like, how old? 1 year. He vomited on the floor, so he didn't like it a lot. It was sick, so we said, okay, yeah, that's it. Let's leave. And the second time when we moved from the second to this one here, then it was already night, and because we left and no electricity there, then that also didn't work, unfortunately. So my camera is not low light enough to do that. And can you hear that? I guess the mass viewers bring the quality viewers. Yeah, I mean, sure, there are always some quality viewers in the mass viewers. But of course, also if you get like exposed that much, then all of a sudden you have a lot of funny comments that you didn't expect. People like tell you something like you're like this and that, and okay. As someone who's looking to buy a place in Chicago, I'm happy to see different homes or flats. Can't have too many house tours. There we go. I like Conny Raimond's TV show because he seems genuine. That's rare on TV nowadays. Yes, exactly. And yes, you can hear. Well, then that's that. Yeah, it's very, as I said, the insulation is not thin. It's very thin. It's not thick, and you can hear anything, even if there are two closed doors in between. What is it about Japanese apartments? I have not seen many German, Swahili, or Indian apartment tours. Yeah, I also don't know, especially all the same. If they are from the same age, can you say age? Like the same generation of apartments, like open kitchen and the living room connected, and then maybe two rooms. One of them maybe with tatami, and then the bathroom. But probably I would watch that. Then, especially if people put something in there, then you have the personal touch that may be Western or so, but you still have in this Japanese environment. And you see like, oh, they have tatami and they have an open kitchen and they don't have a proper oven, only for fish. And they have this wet room that's the whole bathroom and toilets separate, and it's like magic toilet. So I see why it's interesting, especially for people who see it for the first time. But then, of course, maybe the same for the others, for German, Indian, Swahili. Yeah, exactly. So there you go. I mean, everybody likes apartment tours, so that's why it's justified, apparently. Okay, so now it's already more than 1.5 hours, and I've run out of food. So I would say slowly, maybe do 5 more minutes or so, and then I need to go to bed because the kids wake up early. The show House Hunters International was pretty popular. People like apartment tours. Time to go. Yeah, in Germany, we had, I don't know if it still exists, a show where people try to rent apartments. So this would then include like the agent, to show them around and so on. So you see the apartment, you see what's possible in what area for what price, and maybe hear something about the background of people. And I think it was popular, maybe. Don't know if it still exists. And also in Germany, getting an apartment, especially where I'm from, Munich, it's unbelievable. So I went to an apartment in a kind of okay place, maybe good place. I went to view that, and like the queue was like first or second floor. So ground floor, first floor, second floor. And the queue went down to the ground floor on the staircase. It was like 20 people, maybe 20, no, maybe more, 40, something like that. It's like unbelievable. Like, and everything is like that. And the more one I then got was where the agent just put it online for 10 minutes, and he got like 8 people, or 10 or whatever, and showed it to them, and then I got it because I made the most money or something like that. So, oh, do you hear outside now? It's really raining a lot. I love that. You mean Mieten, Kaufen, Wohnen? It's on Vox 2. Yeah, this one. So Rent, Buy, Live. That's the name of the show. The reason I like Japanese journey videos is because they tend to have a bit more substance and research behind them. I find apartment tours, reaction videos, and similar to be empty content with no real effort. Yes, thank you. Yes, research is tiring, but also I think research makes it better, at least for me, and easier. So, for example, I go to a place, I have to research in advance. Is it any good? Is it worth a video? What can I talk about? At least be a little bit prepared. Give something to you other than there's a tree or something or house. And but apartment tours, like I said, can also provide something. For example, value by explaining you how things work. If you were in the situation, like on a Japanese toilet, for example, or why things are like that, or how it's culturally different, like why you wash yourself before you go into the bathtub and things like that. So I think there's also value to be given there, apart from entertainment. Do you think finding an apartment is easier in Japan than in Germany? Certainly, yes. There are instances where people say it's hard and because they're foreigner and so on in Japan, which is certainly valid. But compared to where I'm from, because here for me, mostly the experience is you go to an agent and then they give you a set of things and of apartments, and if they're good, then they already checked if it's okay for foreigners. And if not, then maybe they would say we want to go there, then they call the landlord, and then if they say okay, we go. And then you go there and you say I want it, and you get it. And in Germany, you say I want it, and they say you don't get it. Because there's so many others, and somebody stronger has something better. Maybe it has children, of like family. Maybe that's more like safe, or more income for some reason that matters. Something, and then you don't get it. So it's like when I went to Japan, we planned for 1 year. So I gave my apartment. I kept my apartment in Germany and rented it to somebody else. And they gave me like brochures, like we are this people with a picture, and we have this and that, and looking for that, and so that's like an application. And in Japan, just we want this, we get it. Maybe they asked for my income, in which company or so, but if it's a good one, so yeah, get no problem. For me, at least. To each their own. That was one of the good things about YouTube. There is content for most tastes. Oh, Light, hey, good to have you here. First time, maybe? It is good here, is indeed. We are just about to wrap up, so probably you won't have to share too much of your time. How is it going with the kanji book? I still have to give you feedback, so really sorry for being so late. Which level is your Japanese now? Mine or Light's? Mine is, I don't know, somewhere intermediate, I think. So in case you don't know, Light Smith is from Saga Prefecture. It's in Kyushu, and he makes a lot of content focused on Japanese and motivation for learning Japanese. Also writes a book right now, kanji book, which is very well done, I think. So maybe you can just Google his name and then find him. The live stream is almost over. Yes, that's true. So in 3 years, yeah, maybe more than in 3, but I haven't taken it, so I don't know. Are you interested to get the abandoned house? To purchase, I guess, an abandoned house in the countryside. I heard they're trying to repopulate. No, I'm not. Or maybe, I mean, generally, I would think it's interesting. But it's also risky because, earthquakes and so on. It's not just you have an old house and you renovate. You have an old house and maybe you can't use it at all and you have to tear it down and make a new one and all that, or termites or something. So, yeah, what's his channel name? No Light. He's just below the next comment below you, Lightsmith. Yes, right. Let's keep in touch. I don't know if I will ever. Hopefully, I will come to Kyushu, but when I will let you know when I do. Or if you happen to be in Nagano one day, also let me know. Yeah, just search for Lightsmith and then you find him, I think. All right. And with that being said, with this plug for Light's channel, I think we just call it a day now. So all of you, thank you so much. Thank you for those who donated. Okay. Light is planning a tour in a few years. Matane Light. So thank you so much if you donated. I hope you will have an excellent Saturday and Sunday and then a great week next week. And also, especially, I hope you will stay safe. So that being said, thank you all for watching and see you next time.